Dead Code Diaries.
Darren Cole had never been a man of superstition. 38 years old, divorced, and working as a defense attorney in a mid-sized firm in Cleveland. He prided himself on logic, cold, hard reason, numbers, facts, evidence. Those were the bricks he built his world on. He lived alone in a modest condo downtown. His mornings were predictable. Coffee with 1 sugar, black suit, black tie, brisk walk to the office. On this particular Friday morning, nothing seemed off. He passed the flower shop, where he always nodded to the old vendor, bought his usual egg sandwich from the cart on 4th Street, and entered the rotating doors of the Weston and Kyle law firm. The receptionist, Melanie, greeted him with a strained smile. "Mr. Cole, you have a visitor waiting in your office." He frowned. He wasn't expecting anyone. "Did they give a name?" he asked. Melanie shook her head. "Just said it was urgent." Darren sighed and made his way up. When he opened the door to his office, the chair facing the window was turned away from him. Smoke curled from a cigarette resting on the edge of his ashtray. "Excuse me?" Darren stepped inside. The chair turned slowly, revealing a man in a dark green prison jumpsuit. His face was hollow, sunken, eyes black, with veins spidering through the whites. Darren's stomach dropped. "Mr. Cole?" the man rasped. "Do you remember me?" He did. It was Elias Granger, a death row inmate Darren had successfully defended 2 years ago. The man had been accused of a series of ritualistic murders involving children. Despite overwhelming circumstantial evidence, Darren had discredited the chain of custody on a key piece of forensic material and won the case. "Security will be here any minute," Darren snapped, backing toward the door. Elias grinned, revealing blackened gums. "I'm not really here, Darren." Darkness overtook Darren's vision. The last thing he heard was the sound of static, like an old TV switching channels. Darren woke to the sharp stench of burning metal and rust. He tried to move, but found his arms and legs bound tightly, a leather strap pressed across his forehead, holding him still. He was in an old, grimy execution chamber. Mold crawled across the tiled walls, and flickering fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. The air was thick and humid, tasting of mildew and something rotten. In front of him stood a wall-length mirror. Behind it, he could feel eyes. Then came the voice over an old intercom, staticky and cold. "Darren Cole, you are here to make your last confession." Panic swelled in his chest. "This is a mistake. I'm not. This is illegal." The intercom crackled. "You defended monsters. Now it's your turn to face judgment." Suddenly, a screen on the wall turned on. Footage began to play. Home videos, police interrogations, crime scene photos. Children, blood, screams. They were all his former clients. Men he had freed on technicalities. One by one, their crimes were shown in brutal detail. Darren watched, trembling as his courtroom tactics were played alongside the horrors that followed. Then, the next video played. one Darren didn't recognize. The screen showed himself asleep in his bed, unaware of the camera. The footage fast-forwarded, him brushing his teeth, showering, talking on the phone. It was surveillance, taken over weeks. The next scene made his stomach twist. The footage showed Darren at a party, clearly intoxicated. A woman stumbled with him into a car. She was laughing, but the next clip, her body was dragged into the woods, limp. Blood streaked the leaves. Darren's face turned toward the camera. But it wasn't quite him. His face was stretched into a smile too wide, his eyes hollow. "I didn't do this," he shouted. "That's not me. That's not—" The intercom responded, voice colder now. "Every sin has a shadow. You have let evil walk free in the name of the law. Now evil walks in you." The straps around his wrists tightened, cutting into his skin. Darren screamed as he felt something crawl under the skin of his arms, like centipedes burrowing. He thrashed, and a sharp electric jolt hit him. Not enough to kill, just enough to burn. A door opened on the far side of the chamber. Out stepped a row of figures, 12 of them. Their ghostly, pale, eyes black and empty. They circled the chair, silently staring. One stepped forward, a boy with no jaw. Blood dripped down his shirt. Darren sobbed. It showed not his reflection, but Elias Granger again. He was seated in Darren's spot. But this time, Elias smiled sweetly.
"You see, Darren, I didn't escape prison. I was executed last month. But the ones I served, they gave me a chance for one more trial."
He stood up in the reflection, though Darren couldn't move.
"You freed monsters, and that makes you their champion. And champions must fall."
The electric chair sparked. Just before the switch was pulled, the room twisted like a folding photograph. The children vanished. The chamber peeled away like burning wallpaper. Darren found himself in his office again. He gasped, standing, hands trembling. The ashtray was clean. No cigarette. No Elias. Everything was normal. Melanie buzzed in, asking about his lunch order. He couldn't speak. Sweat poured down his face. And when he looked in the mirror, his eyes flickered black for a second, just like Elias. And on the back of his neck was a brand, shaped like a broken scale. Justice unbalanced. From that day, Darren changed. He quit his job. He stopped defending criminals. But strange things followed him. People he passed on the street would freeze, eyes turning black for a moment. Children cried when they looked at him. One morning, he woke up in his bed. A note was pinned to his chest. "One more soul, then the chair is yours again." His reflection smiled back at him, even though he wasn't smiling. The question now is, whose soul will Darren Cole free next, and what price will he pay for it?